have you ever done everything right, followed all the rules, prayed with all your heart, and yet still felt a shadow lurking in the corner of your soul? You're not alone. So many of us walk a path of faith, trying our best to live a good life, only to be ambushed by doubt, fear, and those relentless whispers in the dark that tell us we're not good enough, that we're failing. It's a lonely and confusing place to be. You start to wonder, if I'm so close to God, why do I feel so attacked? Why is this so hard? Today, I want to share a story that might just change the way you see those struggles. It's a story about a humble man named Elias, and it holds a powerful truth that I believe can bring peace to even the most troubled heart. This isn't just a story, it's a mirror for our own spiritual journeys. So, find a quiet moment, take a deep breath, and let's walk with Elias for a little while. I promise, what we discover together might be the very answer you've been praying for. Music shifts slightly, becoming more narrative and gentle. There once was a man named Elias. He was a simple man, but his faith was his entire world. Every single morning, as the first light of dawn painted the sky, Elias would kneel and pray. He lived by the words of Jesus, finding wisdom and comfort in the Gospels. He honored Mother Mary with a devotion that was pure and unwavering, seeing her as a guiding star in his life. His faith wasn't just a private affair. Elias was a pillar in his community. You would see him at church every Sunday, his face serene, his heart open. He was the first to offer a hand to those in need, sharing what little he had with the poor, not for recognition, because he truly believed it was what God called him to do. For every sunrise, for every meal on his table, for the very breath in his lungs, he would look to heaven and offer thanks. On the outside, Elias was the perfect picture of a devoted believer. But when the sun went down and the world grew quiet, a different story unfolded. Every night, without fail, Elias was haunted. It wasn't by ghosts or phantoms, but by something far more terrifying, the shadows within his own mind. Doubt would creep in, a cold, slithering thought that questioned everything he held dear. "Are you sure this is real?" it would whisper. "Are you truly saved?" Then came the fear. A deep, chilling fear of stumbling, of falling away, of not being strong enough. And worst of all were the whispers in the dark. They were cunning, twisting his good deeds into acts of pride, his prayers into empty words. They preyed on his insecurities, magnifying every tiny flaw until it felt like a gaping wound in his soul. He was fighting a battle no one else could see, and he was growing so tired. One evening, the weight became too much to bear. The whispers were louder than ever, the darkness thicker. Elias fell to his knees, his body trembling. He clasped his hands together so tightly his knuckles turned white, and he prayed with a desperation he had never known before. His voice was a choked whisper in the silence of his small room. "Lord," he began, tears streaming down his face, blurring his vision. "I don't understand. I follow your word. I read the scriptures. I try to live as you commanded. I trust you, and I trust your blessed mother with all my heart. I do everything I'm supposed to do. So why does Satan still disturb me? Why do these dark thoughts still plague my mind and break my spirit? Am I doing something wrong? Have you abandoned me?" He finished his prayer and remained kneeling, his head bowed in exhaustion and sorrow. The room was utterly silent. The only sound was his own ragged breathing. He waited, expecting nothing but the same old oppressive silence. But then, something shifted. It wasn't a booming voice from the heavens, not a clap of thunder or a flash of light. It was a feeling, a warmth that started in the very center of his chest. And within that warmth, a gentle voice answered not in his ears, but in the deepest, most quiet part of his heart. It was a voice of pure, unshakable peace. "My child," the voice said, full of a love that washed over him like a gentle tide. "Listen closely. The closer you walk to the light, the more the darkness will notice your glow. The more you draw near to me, the more desperately the shadows will try to pull you back." Elias held his breath, the words resonating deep within his spirit. The voice continued, its gentleness a powerful balm on his wounded soul. "Satan does not waste his time or his energy on those who are already lost. They are already walking in his direction. He doesn't need to whisper to them. They are already deaf to my call. He fears you, Elias. He fears those who walk with me, because every step you take in faith is a step away from his kingdom of darkness. Your struggle is not a sign of my absence. It is the proof of your progress. Slowly, Elias opened his eyes. The tears were still falling, but they were no longer tears of despair, were tears of understanding, of relief, of profound, soul-shaking clarity. He finally understood. It's being tested, being tempted, being haunted by doubt didn't mean he was abandoned. It didn't mean his faith was weak or that God was displeased. It was the exact opposite. It meant his faith was so strong, so bright, that it had become a threat to the darkness. It meant he was worthy of the fight. The enemy was attacking him precisely because he was on the right path. From that day forward, everything changed for Elias. The whispers didn't vanish overnight. The fears didn't just disappear. Struggle was still there. But now, when he felt the cold tendrils of temptation or the chilling grip of fear, he no longer crumbled. Instead, a small smile would touch his lips. He would turn his heart toward the source of the whisper and say quietly, with a newfound confidence, "You only fight me because you can't have me. You only bother me because I belong to God." And with those words, a deep and lasting peace began to settle in his heart. It wasn't a peace that came from the absence of the enemy. It was a peace that came from knowing his own strength in God. He had learned the ultimate lesson of faith, that it is not the absence of struggle, but the strength to rise above it, again and again. Knowing that the light you carry is far more powerful than the darkness that resents it. Music swells gently, then begins to fade into a soft, hopeful outro, that story of Elias. It speaks to so many of us, doesn't it? If you've ever felt that struggle, if you've ever wondered why your journey of faith feels like a battle, I want you to remember Elias. Your struggles are not a sign that you are failing. They are a sign that you are fighting. They are a sign that your light is shining so brightly that the darkness can't ignore it. So the next time you feel those whispers of doubt, the next time fear tries to take hold, I invite you to smile, just like Elias did. Whisper back to that darkness, "You only fight me because you can have me." Remind yourself that you are on the right path and that you are seen, you are known, and you are so worthy of the fight. If this story spoke to your heart and brought you a little bit of peace today, please consider sharing it with someone who might need to hear it. Your like, your comment, and your subscription to this channel help us spread these messages of hope and light to more people. Thank you for spending this time with me. Remember, even in your darkest moments, the light of faith is still within you, and it is more powerful than you know. Stay strong, and God bless.